Very good morning, viewers. This is Gauri Joshi Bhattacharjee, and we have a great panel joining with us from different parts of India. We have Mr. Raj Kapoor, the CEO of India Blockchain Alliance, who also heads a lot of boards, as AI first companies are, the talk of the town. We also have Mr. Jaideep Keval Ramani from Team Lease, who is the chief operating officer there and also an AI forward leader, who I personally know has been trying a lot of AI innovations and also is up to date with almost everything that's happening in that part of the world. And we have Mr. Pankaj Srivastava with us, who is the CEO of a US based AI first company. And here we are to discuss something that is going to affect all of our futures. Now, AI was supposed to be a tool, as every leader you hear say. So, why is it now being used in warfare? Something that was, reserved for combat, reserved for the field, reserved for people. And in a world which should be striving for peace, now we've got Claude and Anthropic actually contributing, the Mythos version contributing to Pentagon. And will India also now get defense and AI first? So, my first question to you, Raj sir, is why AI in warfare? Why now? And are you against it or are you pro this innovation?
It's a nice question. Pros and cons are always good to any tool. Any technology has its pros and cons. So we'll talk about that a little later. But first of all, actually, you're right. AI has moved from it was basically once upon a time a support tool. To, it's moved from there now. That whole paradigm shift from a support tool to core. It's a war fighting variable. In the last 3 years, we've seen that. If you look at the U.S. Department of War's January 2026 strategy, which they actually directed the Pentagon to become an AI first force, and that's a very strong move in this space. If you look at it, it's a marked shift from the earlier caution. Before that, there were also a lot of models, ethical guardrails. There was a lot of discussions around that, but that thing has moved now at a very decisive speed, and that's important. If you look at it, the RAND 2026 analysis, it frames the stakes in very strong structural frameworks and terms. AI is basically reshaping the four building blocks, which I would say in warfare: quantity versus quality, hiding versus finding, centralized versus decentralized command, and cyber offense versus defense. This is because we got cheap AI-enabled drone mass potentially undercutting the traditional advantages which we've been having so far of expensive platforms. Coming to India, oh yes, India is doing a lot of things as well. Are you aware that India has the ETAI? They've been doing the evaluating trustworthy artificial intelligence frameworks and guidelines for the armed forces. If you look at it, India has already started there. Its official military AI governance standards, which was launched on October 17th, I think, 2024. It was jointly launched by the Chief of Defense Staff that time, Anil Chauhanji, and DRDO Chairman Dr. Samir Kamath. It was built by DRDO. It was built by DRDO also. And what is it? What they've started is they put the AI risk-based assessment framework. It's not really a broad policy statement, but a working evaluation tool that gives developers and evaluators a structured way to build and certify AI systems. So India has also started its journey. It's also going to be this is just the beginning. In fact, operation if you see Operation Sindoor was a very clear impact of what AI. It was India's inflection point was in 2025, and the AI enabled non-contact military operations were really for all to see. We used it for multi-sensor data fusion. We use it for real-time intelligence, predictive modeling, heat mapping movements, lot of things. Now we have we say we've got our own sovereign homegrown AI model in the operation. It was disclosed by Shri Minister Ashwini ji at Davos, basically to avoid foreign data exposure, which is also a very strong thing now. And if you see also all opposite, post Sindoor, they fast tracked the 2026 AI roadmap: drone swarming, combat simulation, predictive maintenance, LLM-based summarizations. All these have been put. So India is not far behind. We are actually taking cognizance of AI, and I think that's a great thing happening. So for me, I'm pro it. If it's a tool, at the end of the day, a tool is a tool. You use it positively, it's great. It's like it's like if I give you a brick, you can make a bridge or you can make a wall. I prefer the bridge making. We don't make walls. We should make bridges. That's my opinion.
Very positive start to the discussion. But Jaideep sir, we've got a lot of news of AI job losses coming in. And this was something that team leads and staffing companies in your league had already predicted. That, menial jobs and jobs which will actually be repetitive or something which are not really adding value to companies can be automated using AI. So for a MSME or an SME, it's a very good thing. But when it comes to combat forces, I mean, would we see a day when people will not be on the field fighting and it will be more like a computer warfare? And we saw a bio war which happened. So, keeping that in mind, and of course, it's not established that COVID was a bio warfare, but still, I mean, we have to be cautious as AI first citizens. We've got to be cautious of what lies ahead when AI gets into warfare.
Sure. So, Gauri, of course, my expertise lies more in AI than in warfare. So, my comment should be viewed from that perspective. You are right. I mean, there would be a time when most battles would be fought in the cyberspace before you put boots on the ground. But that's not a new phenomena. That's already been happening. I mean, with increased media coverage, all of us as common citizens, we kind of know what kind of technology is being deployed in different conflict zones across the world. But think of AI in warfare as a paradigm shift. Typically, warfare is won through technology, hardware, capital expenditure spends, people, boots on the ground, intelligence, and all of that. And all of that has a linear capability. You need more boots on the ground, you need to add more humans. You need more battle tanks, you need to produce more battle tanks. And it has a linear capability. AI changes the game and it creates an exponential capability at a fraction of a cost. The smarter your AI is, you can accomplish more with less. And this actually presents both a wonderful and a scary situation. Wonderful because then you prevent losses of life on the ground by kind of shifting these battlefields away from humans. But scary because even someone with low capital footprint or technological footprint can harness the power of AI and change the game. So it's the smartest brains around AI who are able to navigate warfare will win this. And again, access to talent is kind of open. The best talent that you pull in and you kind of divert them towards these capabilities will shift the game. The second is it also removes the physical asymmetry that exists. So it's no longer that you have millions of people in your armed forces and you add AI capability to that. Those equations can change dramatically. And therefore, we've seen some government actions, not just in India, but also other international governments trying to capitalize and monopolize the power of the chip or the power of the models to kind of secure their borders and secure their airspace or cyberspace. So, two big things to watch out for. One is the exponential change in the warfare capacity and capability, and the second is the removal of asymmetry. So, those are both wonderful and scary things, like I mentioned. One needs to watch out for.
No, absolutely, sir. I completely agree. And moving on to Pankaj, sir. Um, Sir, when it comes to governments actually intervening in the forward, technologies, earlier it was Sam Altman, like always calling for regulation, always saying that, governments should step in. There is a lot of change that AI is capable of making. And, then of course, Elon Musk fed the entire Twitter data, which is now X, to Grok. So that was a warning bell. And now when US says that, Fable and Mythos, which are Anthropic's versions, need to be limited and, the release has to be phased out, of course, all the AI first companies are creating a human cry. They say that we need to be market forward and not a government forward entity. So where do you see regulation coming in here? And do you support a move where, like a China or a Russia or a US, if their country makes the first AI, which is, you know, um, capable of changing the game for defense or, other technologies, should there be a government control over that, or should there be an autonomous body overseeing such operations?
In my opinion, any country, let us say US, they they control their private companies also. In the name of national security, any law, any guideline they can pass, and the private companies they have to abide by. The question is not whether it will happen or not. The fact is it is already happening. They had they passed that the mythos will not be launched, the fable will not be launched. They did not have the right to launch it till the government actually accepted. The question is whether they will do it or not. That's not the question. They are already doing it, and they will always do it. Any country, AI is like, it's an infrastructure. It's like electricity. It's like internet. So the governments will always have the control over it. They will not lose the control. Now the question is, each country, every developing country, China, you can see they already have their even language models, even AI models like DeepSeek. So every country today or tomorrow, if they have to win the AI war, they will have to develop their own. You cannot be dependent on any particular country. And regarding creating autonomous body, you see there are a lot of autonomous bodies like United Nations and XYZs, but are they capable of stopping the Iran war? So that is the answer to your question. The countries will have the control. Each country will have to
Mhm.
think of themselves.
No, absolutely, I agree. And my second part of the question, um, Raj sir, I would want to understand. I mean, there was a saying that data is the new oil, but now slowly we are moving to oil is the new data. You had also shared your views previously on, how this war situation is going to lead to an energy crisis. And also, with that respect to all three leaders, and, we'll open up this discussion. Jeff Bezos recently made a comment that you take away the water from people and you give it to AI because you cannot stop that advancement. So, when your warfare gets to the the fabric of humanity, that instead of focusing on agriculture or healthcare or providing the basic necessities to people, we are talking about how AI can actually be bolstered to fulfill the interests of millionaires, billionaires, and upper class citizenship, or fuel warfare, which is not in the interest of anyone in the long run. So that's just so starting with you.
Okay, you're right. Actually, AI there's a warfare of a different kind, which has got the technology warfare, which we are all going to be talking about. But there is an undercurrent and underlying thing which we really should realize is the actual cost of AI. Now, if you look at it, why are the big boys putting up all the big data centers, AI data centers in our country? Let's have a very simple example with that. Reason: cheap labor is one, yeah, no doubt. But the second is they're not using their own resources. They're not using their own water. They're not using anything. It's our groundwater levels which are going to be utilized for this. I am totally against making all the big headlines. Oh, Google signs, big AI center here, Microsoft signs. Well, look at it, guys. What are we doing? We are actually giving them cheap labor, cheap water. What are we getting? Not even the IP. Nothing. That doesn't come to us. Nothing comes to us excepting a nice headline, maybe, which comes on the newspaper here today, gone tomorrow. That's a very simple thing. The different wars, these are different wars of a different kind. This is my opinion, please. Okay, so this is just my opinion, and I've seen this. I've been in this space for a long, 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 long time, almost 40 years, 45 years, and I've seen how even in earlier class, blockchain was using resources. Now AI is using resources. We've started, of course, a movement called Tech Zero, where we are actually using technology to bring down the impacts of all this. But that's a long way. That's a long story. The fastest story, you said correctly, is the big boys game. We have farmers committing suicide, and we talk about AI. Yes, in the same breath, it's happening every day. You see the news, one paper, this you turn it, and yeah. So what are we doing? The farmers are also going to be affected in any agrarian countries when water tables recede, and that's happening everywhere. We talk about sending 50,000 crores on data centers. Yeah, we need them. but we need them in a greener way. They're not being there. There's a lot of greenwashing going on in the guise of actually being responsible AI. There is no such thing as responsible AI right now. And I've really studied this for the last maybe 20, 25 years, this space. I'm in my mid 60s. I'm doing AI now. I'm learning this. I'm learning more of AI now than I did maybe 20 years back. So there's a huge shift. So the wars are natural resources are depleting. Electricity, computing power, water, and the very core fact that AI is making us brain dead, frankly speaking. It's taking away the human element from the whole thing. So we don't have a human in the loop anymore. We talk about human in the loop, oh, big talk, yeah, great stuff. But we really don't have it. We just add almost everybody, whether it's marketing, yeah, HR, you name them, they're all using some form of AI. I'm all for AI. It's a great tool. But how many of us realize when we put in one search, how much water are we actually siphoning off from our systems? We don't think that. So when wars are there, this is a different kind of a war. It's not an army. It's nothing. It is different, more powerful nations coming and exploiting. It's like I call it the East India Company once again. We are back again in the same space, but in a more technical, very forward-thinking, well-packaged, wrapped AI. Where is the natural intelligence when we set up data centers? That is missing. We talk about human in the loop. Well, we are in the loop now. We are chasing our own tails now, figuring out what's more important: AI, agriculture, healthcare. Look at the healthcare facilities. Can we not use AI for that? Can we not use AI for agriculture? Can we not make it more easy for people to access it? Well, that's one of the questions we all have to answer at one point in time. Are we ready for that cost? Are we ready for the growth at the cost of basic education, basic healthcare, basic life, basic housing? All these things are there. So I think the new wars are not only going to be the wars which are fought across borders. We can't stop those wars, and we can't have that. Those are ego battles. But what about battles when we don't realize what are we doing to our own resources, to our own people? I don't think just getting jobs for them is enough, because they're going to have a limited time again. These jobs are limited, finite jobs. They're not going to be infinite jobs. Once they're there, they'll be again replaced by AI, automated once the work streams are in place. So it's just a question of long-term thought. My opinion is we are fighting a losing battle by putting up that many more data centers in our nation without taking the regulatory precautionary things of actually making it recyclable, more green. But there is one data center which is a great example coming up in South India. I will not name it right now. I'm in NDA with them. I'm doing a work with them on creating absolutely green data centers. It's a bigger dream than anything. It's not easy and it's not cheap, but it's there. We need to start taking that, and we need to do it at a policy level. We don't have a policy around that. That's the policy which we need around the natural resource, around the greening of it, around the more sustainability of it. So that's my thoughts. Our war is different now.
No, absolutely, sir. I completely agree. And Jaideep, sir, we always welcome GCCs in India. We always welcome data centers because, of course, the short-term goal is more jobs. But if you look at a LinkedIn today, there is a certain segment of workforce, suppose media or HR specifically, which I can see as a job slop. Like, of course, there are openings for content writer or strategist or, head of marketing, head of communications. But actually, these roles are now being slowly automated. We already know that newsrooms have AI generated, softwares which are converting press releases to news, because they know what parts to move up, what parts to move down. And like Raj sir said, that you've got a problem which is going to be a finite job, limitation, and then of course a job crisis is underway. So, how do you see the advancement of AI taking up people's role in companies, and then further fueling the kind of crisis that we are looking ahead at?
So, I mean, sure, there is going to be a little bit of a churn and a transformation, but calling it a crisis, I would think it's a little, too soon to call it a crisis. Here is why. With every disruption that we've had, you name it, any technological disruption that we've had, the first wave is always of, there are going to be early adopters, people who are very excited, and they'll kind of present a point of view which is very, very transformative. But then there is always a peak of excitement, and then there is a trough of disillusionment before we hit the plateau stage. I mean, the classic Dunning-Kruger effect. This too will cause a lot of churn, disruption, and all of that. There will be a hype, there will be disillusionment. We'll reach the stage of plateau. But one again common thread is that whenever we have some kind of a disruption, there are new sets of jobs that are recreated. People need to very quickly figure out a way to embrace this technology, reskill themselves, upskill themselves. There would certainly be pockets that are disproportionately disrupted, but I think the collective ecosystem of academia, industry, philanthropy, incentives by the government should help us navigate that disruption very, very meaningful manner. The advantage is we are living in a truly digital age where access to information, knowledge, education is available at the fingertips. And it is not too difficult for people to now make pivots. And I've seen that over the last 3 years since the advancement of this AI technology, a lot of effort has gone in from everyone to kind of make sure that people are embracing this and reskilling themselves. This is the age of human being augmented by AI, not humans being replaced by AI. We are still kind of not on that verge. I mean, sure, some companies used the AI front to talk about some layoffs, and we're getting media reports around that, all unsubstantiated. I don't have first-hand information about it. But I mean, that's a rhetoric that organizations will use. So we should look at upskilling the talent pool, whether it's in a corporate or in the academia right now, or sitting outside of the academia, to embrace AI and augment themselves using that. That is more future proofing rather than waiting for your job to be kind of completely taken up by AI and then you kind of try to figure out what to do.
No, absolutely, sir. And Pankaj sir, you are in an AI first company, or a software company, but do you see that AI upskilling, or in a way being AI first, is advantageous in the long run, or the basic principles of running a company have to actually come in place? So the next part of my discussion will be the AI bubble, but your preliminary thoughts on how AI is changing companies at a ground stage. So you're on mute, I believe. Yes.
Yeah. So every company which is transforming to AI adoption is facing a skill shortage. There are not many skilled people who actually have experiences in running the outcomes, deriving outcomes using AI tools. So the problem is real. What one quote I want to cite here, Jeff Bezos has said that AI will not create unemployment; it will create labor shortage, because people will start finding more problems and trying to solve more problems. Thereby, a new kind of demand will be created. I'll give you an example of longevity. Okay, AI has the capability of pushing the information to masses, and people are actually curious about longevity, which healthcare organizations will provide solutions, thereby creating a new kind of demand. If you go to the marketing, the search engineering, the AI has uh, done a lot of information and education. It has provided to businesses, small, medium scale businesses, enterprises, the stakeholders, the marketing heads, the management teams are exploring it and understanding that what they can derive out of internet as far as marketing is concerned. So therefore, the fundamentally, the AI adoption, the transformation will create more jobs than it kill the routine jobs. This is what my understanding is.
No, absolutely. And the third part and the last part of this discussion is very important because AI just came in 2022. Of course, discussions in Google and other companies were rife since 2013, but it became mainstream in 2022. And by the time we are in 2026, a lot of people have already said that bubble which is about to be burst. So, the first part of the question, Raj sir, is if AI is a bubble, what is it actually replaced? What has it replaced so far? And if the AI bubble bursts, what will happen next?
I think I had part of the answer in my previous answer when I gave you, but the AI bubble is very much real. It's like the internet bubble, which was there in the 2000s, which is there with any, it's the hype cycle, and it happens with every technology. A few years back, it was blockchain when people talk about Bitcoin and people raved about it and said, wow, next best thing. All of a sudden, oh, well, it's tapered down now and it's become more of real world use cases rather than just the crypto hype, so to speak. Now comes the hype of AI. I've seen this happen on LinkedIn, and I've enjoyed seeing this change, paradigm shift of people who are crypto and blockchain experts suddenly becoming AI experts. That's the first thing I've seen. It's the same guy is reading the same stuff on YouTube and other things. There's a lot of information, or just studying a little bit from ChatGPT and saying, "Oh, I've become an AI expert." How many of us have actually worked on an AI platform? How many have worked on LLMs? That's one thing. So we are producing a bunch of zombies, is my opinion. We're really, I'm very vocal about it. Why? I see youngsters, they don't have a brain, but you see the answers they write. Oh, wow, super. Why are they taking it from one of these chat GPTs or Claude or wherever, Perplexity, wherever? So we have actually, the bubble is real. It's going to burst. There is no two steps about it. It's just a matter of a few years. Why? Because it's reached a stage and a lot of I work with a crypto investment firm, which all of a sudden decides to put $50 million, raising $150 million for AI now. What happened to your crypto? What happened to the blockchain? What happened to that? All right, all of a sudden, okay, that's a shift. People are moving towards that. Yeah, they start moving towards the trends. But are we trend chasers? We are trend chasers. AI is the current trend. Maybe 5 years down the line, we won't be talking about AI. It'll become mainstream, normal, just like the internet has become. Do you talk about the internet? No, we use it every day. We talk about job losses, job skills, blah, blah, blah. It's in everything. It's in everything. Every 5 years, there's a churn. Every 5 years, there's a churn. Today is AI. Tomorrow, it will be something else. I am doing a lot of work in quantum computing. It's going to make the whole AI blockchain story a different story altogether. Okay, so the bubble is going to burst. That's for sure. When it bursts, I'd say within the next 3 to 5 years, maybe even earlier. That's one. What will we lose? Native intelligence. I've been saying that again and again. We need to stop using our brains. We stop using brains. I can simulate this whole interview on AI and say, well, great stuff. If I just ask every one of us to write the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog and do it 5 times, I'll be able to replicate Jaydeep, Pankaj, you, me, everything on AI. It's not very difficult. And I can narrate, I can give that a whole narration. It's dangerous and at the same time creative. Your wish, brick, ball, or bridges. Now, so you're going to lose native intelligence. We are already losing the thinking power of a lot of people, especially our students. We're not. That's not great for a nation. The nations are not built on technology. They were built on strong fundamentals, which are still existing. These are great tools. Yeah, we use them as tools. They're very good tools. Like the internet is the brilliant tool. The AI is a brilliant tool. I always say, there is no auditability in the answering in what AI gives us. So I'm actually working on a lot of solutions where we, with a lot of my people, bring in accountability in AI, responsibility in AI, integrating blockchain with AI because you need an audit machine. Blockchain is the audit machine. So if AI is the brain, blockchain becomes the spine. Without that, we're getting a lot of answers which we feel, oh, right, great answers. I can give you so many prompts and the answers that come are so humorous. Seriously, I asked something about one of my friends. Oh, wow, aghast I was at the answers. So, he's a very famous scientist. So it made him a rock. Instead of giving it a scientist name, it gave him the name of a rock star in the USA. That's the information I got. So there's a lot of errors and there's a lot of bias and there's a lot of gender bias. Lots of things happening. We haven't addressed those. We talk about AI every day. AI this, AI that. Everything is all of a sudden, every ad campaign becomes, AI-enabled HRM solutions, AI-enabled ERP solutions. It's become a hype. A lot of it is going to blow away. A lot of corporates which are investing in AI are investing right. That's the right space. You need to always invest in the latest technologies, but really understand, do you really need it? And if you need it, yes, use it. Don't depend on it. You need to have a plan B always. What happens if the AI bubble bursts and a lot of companies go under? What happens if chips don't work? What happens if GCC stop functioning? And with GCC, when we talk about cyber warfare, I can hack into a GCC whenever I want, right? It's not difficult. Manipulate data, do whatever I like. I'm an ethical hacker, so I do that as a testing ground for so many systems. I'll tell you, 90% of the companies today using AI have such vulnerable systems. We can hack them open within maybe 30 minutes. It's very simple and change the entire thing. Now your dependency on AI has become so much that you'll think that whatever information is coming out from there is, oh, that's the gospel truth. It's not the gospel truth. How do you verify that? So let the bubble burst. And that's great. It is good to have a bubble bursting because then it's the wheat and the chaff get separated. The good stuff remains, the good actors remain, all the bad things go away. It happened in the blockchain space, it's going to happen in the AI space. So guys, enjoy the bubble while it lasts, float with it. Also, keep your parachute ready because there will be a crash landing at some time. But if you're ready, you're good for it.
No, that is a very exemplary thought, I would say, sir. And Jaideep, sir, you are in the staffing space. So you know that, there are so many answers that are now written by ChatGPT. There are so many slides that are created by, Agama. And people are proud of it. People are proud of just, one-line prompt and how it represents their intelligence. But, as we're talking about critical thinking day in and day out, the kind of things that CEOs say that we haven't had our hair gray overnight. That is actually real. That once you're on the ground, there is a difference between an AI journalist and a journalist actually who's been on the ground, spoken to people, done their job in and out for, a group of years, like probably 7 years, 10 years, 15 years, and you name it. So, how is it that companies are now going to distinguish actual talent from, AI generated prompts?
So, I think for a Thursday morning, Raj is dangerously pessimistic. Let me present a view of being dangerously optimistic. And Raj is right in his perspective. I mean, these views are not terribly misplaced. See, the youth, as we are seeing today, there is a risk of cognitive surrender to AI, and application of logic, thought is very important. And that risk needs to be managed and mitigated. I mean, there is no taking away that if people cognitively surrender themselves to AI, it's a big problem. However, we've identified more than 3,000 use cases for AI literacy and AI proficiency, right from a student to a homemaker to a working professional to a SME vendor. Everyone needs to identify different ways in which they will tap AI. To answer your question, Gauri, of course, nothing takes away experience. Experience is something that is not taught in classrooms. It is done on the field. You have to be in the job. Either you learn from the mistake of others or you learn from your own mistakes, and that is what the cumulative experience is. Separating good talent from bad talent is a continuous activity. It's not a point in time exercise. When a fresher walks in, you identify some certain markers, academic accomplishments, the way they present themselves in an interview, and so on. And you identify the potential based on that. And then the person starts working, you have different ways of identifying their potential and their capability. So experience is very important. But nothing takes away performance. More importantly, in this age where access to information or even access to processed information is not too difficult, one needs to show agency and aspiration. More importantly, if you are within an organization, you need to show entrepreneurship, take initiative, take the risks, communicate well. So all of those things are extremely important for people to now distinguish themselves at the place of work, rather than who holds the maximum amount of memory or the ability to process it, because that is becoming a level playground. So the softer elements of one's personality, the way you communicate, network, and all of that, will start to become the distinguishing factor.
No, absolutely, sir. And Pankaj sir, when you as the CEO of a firm sit in your chair, what are the 5 qualities that you seek in a software specialist or somebody who's coming in and of course withstanding that they will be using a lot of AI, but is the prompt engineering kind of every day I see some or the other AI workshop being sold to me on like a cred or a Paytm, through coupons. And it's claimed that it's worth 1,999, but we're just giving it to you for probably a 99. And that's how rampant AI has become. But sitting on that chair, looking at your revenue and PI cycles, do you think that AI is the main change maker? Does like imagine a world where there's no AI or maybe no electricity as well. Is it that work will stop for people, or is it that there is something else that you're looking in your employees? So you're on mute.
I want to quote Mr. Raj here, as he said that he looks for accountability in AI. The similar thing every management is looking for. The AI they are super smart, okay, but without a subject matter expert's knowledge, it is zero. It cannot produce any outcome. And outcome is what clients are asking today, even more demanding. Any sector you see, they are negotiating on cost, they are asking more valuable deliveries, quality of the deliveries they are asking, because they also have those GPTs and tools to do basic R&D at least. Okay. So now in a candidate, as you asked, what we are looking for? We are looking for critical thinking, curiosity. Means they can think without AI or not. This is what the first test we take. Okay, when we sit in an interview, we say that okay, without the challenge is we get very less people who without AI now they can think. That is one challenge we are facing. And then what we look for in a candidate is the candidate, can he collaborate in a team and work as a team, which in our culture it is like we are finding it difficult to find such candidates, because from early childhood every school has a environment that your classmate, the person sitting beside you, is your competitor. Okay, they arrange competition, X competition, Y competition, Z competition. Every day there is a competition. The question is, whom are you competing with? Your classmate. But when they come to a company, we expect them to work in a team, because without team, how we will deliver a project? So these are the critical aspects we look for in a candidate. And these days it is little difficult. We are facing little difficulty to find, actually.
No, absolutely, sir. And one thing that I always gather from my discussions with all three of you, because we've spoken before, Raj sir always has something new to the table. Of course, there is a bit of caution always because he's seen so much in this technological space. And while I, really appreciate talking to Jaideep sir, because there is an optimism about every opportunity there. So, that balances out. And, this collaboration, I think we had the first discussion with you both in 2024 when NIAP had just started. So, I'm so blessed that, again, I could pick your brains on something that really affected me for quite a while. When I personally spoke to both of you, I was very perturbed that, AI is now getting into warfare. But, as we leave this discussion and, with Pankaj sir, I think there is no better note to leave than saying that, we are looking at collaboration, not competition. And, this world is already very competitive. It's already very negative. But one thing that all of us can agree on is that, the AI slop or, the AI influx has maybe made us closer to humanity, maybe asked us to, keep our devices down, maybe pick a book, because now we really, like, the people who know the importance of critical thinking, they know that real intelligence and real compassion, EQ and IQ, is something that's going to create a differentiation. And I hope every youngster, or even a middle-aged career professional who's watching this, will take this learning from our discussion, that at the end of the day, it's about your human intelligence, and it has to be about AI in the human loop and not human in the AI loop. With that, I thank all of you three gentlemen for taking out time this Thursday morning, and
Thank you.
hope that we collaborate again on such discussions, because it's very important to share our experiences and our observations about the industry at large and how AI is changing the world. So thank you so much for joining
Thank
in, and keep watching the NIAP for the latest updates.
Of course.
Thank
Always a pleasure, Gauri. Thank you. See you,
Thank you.
Raj. Bye, Pankaj.